welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go with them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to be doing part 3 to the very popular story I covered a couple weeks ago, which is titled, Husband Tricks Wife into Writing Confession About Affair with Coworker, then Throws Her Out in Tears. And that's about the husband who handles it like a boss upon finding out that his wife was cheating, actually gets her to write a full-on confession which he can use, and then tosses her out of the house. And I might add also, he's been working with a female attorney, I believe his buddy's wife, who watches my channel and recommended me, and that's how I started the whole thing. And it's quite the interesting take, because not often you hear women recommending me. And we're going to pick up where things left off. And beyond that, guys, if you don't know what's going on in the story, go back, watch part 1 and 2, because I don't want to waste more of your time recapping everything that you all already know. So I can jump into this. So you're going to see now where things left off, some more details behind the scenes, and where things go in this guy's investigations, and how things are going to go with his lovely wife here. He says, hello SSM. First of all, I'd like to thank you for airing my story and for all the valuable commentary. I also like to thank your audience for their support, advice, and interest in what I'm going through. Well, you can always count on that with this audience. We care. That's why we're here. And for the entertainment. The comments and goodwill have been very encouraging. Some of you asked for an update, so here it is. A lot has happened in the weeks since the original post. The post ended with forcing my wife to write a confession about her adultery with her work husband, Fred. I wanted her to write a confession to use against her in my divorce. When she finished writing it, I threw her out. That was on a Sunday about 3 weeks ago, so here's the update. Yeah, man, you handled that like a boss. Very slick. So the next morning, on Monday, I set up an appointment to get an STD panel, and I went to my appointment with Angie. Angie is my friend and lawyer and is married to my friend and business partner, Greg. Angie looked over Linda's confession and the DMs between Linda and Fred. She said that what I had on Linda was good. It proves infidelity, and she asked if Linda admitted to any other boyfriends. I told her that Linda denied having any other lovers, only Fred. There's no way that Fred is the only one. Angie said it's enough to sue for divorce based on infidelity, but if I find out any others, to let her know. The more lovers we can show Linda had, the better for us. It'll be hurtful for me, but better for the divorce. We don't want Linda to tell a judge that Fred was her only affair, that she just made one mistake and wants to reconcile. Yeah, the old, it was a mistake, song and dance. The judge may ask why I can't forgive her this one misstep, or order marriage counseling, and so forth. So if we can, we need to show Linda is a serial cheater, and if Fred is not a one-time aberration that I should overlook. We need to find out about the other guys that she has been with. I asked why Angie's so sure that Linda has been unfaithful to other men, not just Fred. Angie looked at me and said there are always more than one. Remember, it's also about attention and validation. It's just about the physical actions, guys. The attention and validation, and one guy ain't going to cover it. So there's definitely always more than one. Our plan for the divorce is to tell Linda that we're going to parade her infidelity in court with all the lurid details, unless she accepts a settlement that is generous to me. And that, Angie says, is what we want. To present the court with a signed settlement. We don't want a judge involved in deciding on alimony or the division of assets while Linda is sitting there crying, pulling at the judge's heartstrings. Your lawyer's right, and guarantee you she'll do that. So call Linda today, tell her we're divorcing because of her infidelity. When Linda gets a lawyer, we'll start the negotiations. I ask how long this will take. She says it depends on how stubborn Linda is and how aggressive her lawyer is. But we're in good shape. But the more infidelity I discover, the better negotiating position we'll be in. She told me to find out about the other guys. Well, shouldn't be that hard. Eventually people get careless in covering their tracks. We finished our meeting and Angie told me she's meeting Greg for lunch, and I'm invited. Over lunch, I asked Angie why she watches your channel and recommends you to her clients and to her women friends. Remember, his lawyer friend here watches my channel and recommended me. And shout out to the lawyer that watches me. Angie said the boys and girls grow up watching movies and TV programs that tell them they need to meet the perfect mate, get married, and live happily ever after. They also get this nonsense from teachers, parents, and friends. Like in the movies, they may meet the wrong person at first, or there may be a misunderstanding to work out some sort of other problem. But love conquers all. Every gal believes she'll eventually find her Prince Charming, and every guy thinks he'll meet his perfect Cinderella. They'll marry and begin a wonderful life together. Yeah, and of course, and live happily ever after. And that never works. Supposedly they're set for life. Happily ever after. All blue pill horse crap. But a myth most people buy into. Because they want to buy into it. Let's be honest here. They want to buy into that. Because it sounds all great. And she continued, look at reality. Around 50% of first marriages end in divorce. Okay, so they got it wrong the first time around. They were young and stupid. Now they're more mature and know what they want. They'll get it right the second time. But 60% of second marriages end in divorce. Third time's a charm, right? Nope. 70% of third marriages fall apart. Everything we learn about marriage is inaccurate. Look at Rupert Murdoch, the former guy of Fox News and all those other assets. I think he's in his 90s on his sixth marriage or something ridiculous like this. He may be a powerhouse businessman, but when it comes to women, he's a freaking moron. Men are more likely to try to stick it out even though they're miserable. Because they're unhappy, they may cheat or they hang out with their bros at the gym or work as much as they can and watch every sporting event they can find. They do this to distract themselves on how miserable they are. Wives are less likely to try to hang out in a bad marriage. In the U.S., 70% of divorces are initiated by the wife. That sounds about right. I've heard 80%, but definitely 70%. In the U.S., about 10 to 15% of wives and about 20 to 25% of husbands admit to cheating. It's much higher in other countries. In places like Europe, double the number of wives admit to cheating than husbands. Some countries, almost 60% of wives say they've been unfaithful. It's a badge of honor for a wife to have cheated on her husband. She brags about it to anyone who will listen. Even if she's faithful, she may say she's unfaithful because everyone expects her to cheat. Well, you can't be a strong and empowered woman in the modern world unless you're, doing what the guys all do, apparently, which is nonsense. She doesn't want other people to think there's something wrong with her. If she isn't cheating, she's not a true feminist. Ding, ding, ding. In the U.S., of course, most people cheat, then admit it. And once they start cheating, they don't stop. Angie says she advises husbands with cheating wives to watch your channel to give them some spine. Help stiffen their determination to divorce the cheating wife. They need to understand that that will be more harmful staying in the bad marriage than getting divorced. They need to be reminded what the future holds if they stay in the marriage, a cheating wife. Exactly. Cheating wife and misery. And if there's poor kids in the picture, those kids are going to grow up unhappy in an unhappy household. Unlike their husbands, wives try to figure out why they're so unhappy in their happily ever after marriage. They talk to their friends, listen to marriage gurus, read books, and go online for marriage advice. They hear the same thing over and over. You want to remain married, but take a lover to spice things up. Just like many of your friends are doing. There's nothing wrong in seeking fun and excitement outside her marriage. This is what supposedly so many women are told by their wonderful friends. That's why I tell you to watch out who her friends are. You're an independent woman and not your husband's property. You're more than just a wife. If a wife needs the excitement provided by her lovers, that's her decision and really has nothing to do with her husband. What a steaming pile of crap. It's just some thrills in life that's become too routine and dull. And the excitement of a lover will even be good for her marriage. Less tension and fights with her husband over petty crap because she's no longer so unhappy. There's a bounce in her step again. She can't wait to get out of bed in the morning. She's going to be with her lover. The only reason she has to hide her infidelity from her husband is because he won't be able to handle it. Insecurity and toxic masculinity. Yep, your lawyer has their number, all right. But that is the husband's problem, of course, not hers. She's doing her own thing. It has nothing to do with him. She loves him, but he's not her warden. If he doesn't understand, that's on him. Yep, all mumbo-jumbo here. Newsflash, if she loves her husband, truly loves him, she doesn't want other guys, period. And if she has issues, they will talk like adults and try to resolve them and communicate in ways each other understand, not just her do what was described here. Besides, she's too smart to get caught. And if she's caught, her husband loves her too much to be there to be any serious consequences. Things will be uncomfortable for a while, but all will be forgiven. Life in their marriage will go on as before. Angie said never ceases to amaze her that some women are so stupid they believe this crap. Almost as stupid as a husband believing his cheating wife is going to change. Yep, and they don't change. Angie, my lawyer, continued that she recommends your channel to her female friends because at least they have realistic ideas of what will happen if they're caught cheating. Well, the problem with other women watching my channel that aren't good is that they're going to just learn better tricks. That's the problem. That's the one downside to this, where women can watch me, they can hate my guts and use this knowledge for evil. Apparently only 44% of wives who cheat hold on to their marriages. In the real world, her husband doesn't love her so much that he won't divorce her for infidelity. Even if she's one of the 44% and her husband agrees to reconcile, their marriage is changed forever. If they have kids, the family is forever changed. The relationship with their extended families and their friends are forever changed. It's not just some fun and thrills. The effects of the infidelity are devastating. Going outside the marriage instead of trying to solve marital problems may very well destroy her marriage and her family. Watching your channel might wake them up to the fact that cheating is more than just a meaningless SCX with no real consequences. Once she's caught, the unfaithful wife's life never will become the same again, along with her husband's and children's. Angie concluded that she sees your videos as cautionary tales. They make it clear to the husband that his marriage to his cheating wife is over. Divorce is the only option. The videos also make it clear that the wife that had an affair will likely end her marriage and destroy her family. Regardless of what she tells herself, her husband will not just forgive and forget. Angie finished by saying that the videos provide some much needed realism for both husbands and wives. Well, thank you, Angie. I appreciate you recognizing the good I do and sharing it with people. When we were finishing lunch, I told Angie and Greg that I wrote up what happened with Linda and my discovery for infidelity. They both wanted to read it. I emailed them a couple copies and encouraged me to send it to you, which I did, and this is the update to that post. Well, that was long, but okay, we had to build up the anticipation here. After lunch, I went back to work. I got a call from Fred's wife. Her name is Beth. She asked if we could get together to talk. She's decided to divorce Fred and she needs my help. I made arrangements with her to meet the next morning, Tuesday, at one of the coffee shops. Yeah, isn't she the one that beat the crap out of her husband? Angie made it clear that Linda has undoubtedly had more lovers than Fred and that finding out about them will make my divorce better for me. I thought about how to find out about any others. When I got home that evening, I opened her iPad again. Her Instagram account was still copying from her phone to her iPad. She evidently reinstalled the app on her phone after I threw her out and sent a DM to Fred. Her laptop is going to be Pandora's box. She told Fred he's a worthless coward for not standing up to his wife. He should never let his wife tell me about their affair. Fred should have protected Linda. He put her marriage in jeopardy. I was threatening divorce. Linda is sure it will never come to that I love her too much. But I told her she had to leave. It's all Fred's fault. She wants nothing more to do with him. Don't talk to her. Don't contact her. There's no response from Fred. Your wife is responsible for her own actions, not Fred. But easy to blame somebody else. There's nothing else I could find on her iPad. No conversations with any other men and no conversations with her friends. Just with Fred. I hadn't been through her laptop, so I opened it. She and I use each other's laptops, so we have some pin to open up the desktop. The pin still worked. There was nothing on her laptop either. Her email had nothing that I hadn't already seen on her iPad and phone. The only apps she had were her online shopping. That's not possible. Our usual evenings when we were home together was me in front of the TV or my iPad while Linda was on her laptop typing. She had messaged with her friends for hours on this laptop, but the laptop had none of these conversations. There was nothing that showed she even communicated directly with anyone. She had either erased everything like she did with her phone or was hiding her apps somewhere, somehow. Well, she definitely was deleted things for a little while, but there's always a trail somewhere. So I downloaded Instagram, but Instagram asked me for login information when I opened it. If she was using Instagram on this laptop, it should have her login information saved. The same happened when I downloaded Facebook. She's hiding her chats with her friends, but I don't know how. The next morning, I brought the laptop to work and asked our tech guy to look at it and see if he could find any hidden apps. There you go. Every guy needs to know a tech guy that can help him with this shit. They opened the start menu and clicked on her user icon. News to me that the laptop had 2 user accounts. The username on the second account is Linda's maiden name. The tech asked me if I had the PIN. Our shared PIN worked. He showed me how to toggle between the 2 accounts and gave me back the laptop. On her second user account, she had Facebook, Instagram, and a Gmail account. Jackpot. All of them were under her maiden name. Also on her desktop was a file labeled Pictures. Before I could open anything, Beth arrived. Linda's laptop would have to wait until tonight. Oh man, I'd be like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Then you look at everything. Beth and I sat down with coffee to talk. She asked if I was divorcing Linda, and I said yes. She is also divorcing Fred. That's why she wanted to talk to me. When they surprised Linda and Fred at the motel, the plan was for her brother to video the two lovebirds with his phone. That would be proof of Fred's infidelity. Her brother was not supposed to knock Fred down, and she was not supposed to punch and kick Linda. But things got out of hand. So the video showed her husband's infidelity, but also Beth kicking Linda's butt. Well, better delete that. And Fred on the floor bleeding. If Beth used to prove infidelity, Linda could use to prove that Beth kicked her butt. Beth could go to jail. Beth's lawyer advised her to lose the video. Listen to your lawyer. I asked if she had the video with her, and yes, her brother forwarded the video of her before erasing the copy. Did I want to see it? Sure, I said. She took out the phone, got the video up, and gave me the phone to me. It showed Beth punching Linda in the face and pulling the sheets off Linda. She grabbed Linda by her hair and pulled her out of the bed onto the floor. Linda got up on all fours, trying to get away. Beth kicked her in the butt. And a bunch of you-know-what came out. And I don't mean what you think. A bunch of white stuff came out. Ew, SSM, you're gross. Well, I'm in that kind of mood today. Linda, crying hysterically, tried to crawl under the bed to hide. Beth grabbed her hair again and pulled her toward the motel room door, past Fred lying on the floor in a fetal position. Linda started to crawl to the door, so Beth let go of her hair, more kicks in the butt to speed Linda's departure from the motel. The video ended with the view of my wife's butt as she crawled out the door. Had that video, man? You can show me? I need a good laugh. So Beth asked if Linda would press charges. I said she hasn't yet. If Beth can't use the video, did she have anything else on her husband? Why did she think her husband was cheating in the first place? Beth said she caught Fred cheating before. The same behavior was repeating itself. Protecting his phone, vagueness about where he's been, suddenly we're having to work late. She's seen all this before. She called her brother and they waited for Fred to leave work. They followed him to the motel where he met Linda. Beth talked to her lawyer, who told her that she needed more proof of Fred's infidelity. They can't use the video her brother took. As bad for Beth as it was for Fred. Her brother's testimony about finding Fred and Linda together isn't enough. He's her brother and will say anything his sister wants him to say. True, it can be taken like that. Beth asked what I have on Linda. I told her I had Linda write a full confession about her affair with Fred. Beth's lawyer will love Linda's confession. I also found Linda's hidden user account with Instagram, Facebook, and a file of pictures, but I haven't looked at any of it just yet. I'll let her know if I find anything there. She said when they showed up at my place for Fred's confession about his and Linda's affair, I didn't seem very surprised. Did I know about them already? I told Beth I suspected and was trying to figure out how to prove it. But why did I suspect them? Mostly because of the pearl necklace, that Fred gave Linda. Linda told me she returned it to Fred but didn't. Beth said, tell me about this necklace. I told her that Linda came home a week ago wearing a necklace she said Fred gave her as a thank you for giving Fred advice about his marital problems. I insisted she give it back to him, and after a lot of resistance, she eventually agreed to do so. But she came home from the hotel wearing the necklace. Oh, she did all right. I knew that they were having an affair, not only because she still had Fred's necklace, but also because her muggling story... I'm thinking muggles from Harry Potter. Her muggling story didn't make sense. Linda came home all beaten up, but her clothes were barely wrinkled. Beth picked up her phone to make a phone call. I heard Fred answer, and Beth said, "You gave her a fucking necklace, you piece of shit." "Go get it back right now," Beth yelled. "Shut up, Fred. I don't care what you have to do. Get the necklace and bring it home tonight. Otherwise, don't come home." And she hung up on him. Beth told me Linda was at work today despite my promises to keep her at home. Fred called Beth when she saw Linda at her desk. Should he leave work? Beth told him to stay at work, but not to interact with her. Beth told me that she really doesn't care what they get up to anymore. She certainly doesn't want Fred hanging around at home. She cannot stand him. Now he has to get his necklace from Linda. That should be entertaining for their co-workers. Beth then asked them if I was going to try to get Fred and Linda fired. Their company won't be happy about their romance. She doesn't want Fred fired. He needs to be working so he can provide alimony and child support. There you go. I told her that I also want Linda working. I'm also concerned about alimony. But from the other end, I have no intention of getting them fired. Beth told me that is a huge relief. I told Beth I saw a DM from Linda to Fred on Sunday that I copied it to her iPad. Linda told Fred she wanted nothing more to do with him. But she said she wouldn't believe anything either of them had to say. But she doesn't care what they do anymore. Fred is still living in their house only because she's not finished torturing him. He doesn't know she's divorcing him. Well, if he's smart, he ought to suspect that. When she gets tired of punishing him, she'll throw him out. That will happen pretty soon. Maybe right after he hands over the necklace tonight. Beth is very short and thin, a really cute pixie girl. Now, she's got one of those haircuts. I don't find pixie haircuts at all attractive. She's probably in her mid-30s, but from a distance, you might mistake her for a young teen. She's smaller than Linda, and Linda's in very good shape. I asked if she was afraid Linda would fight back. Linda's bigger than she is. She said they planned to just take the video of the two lovers in the motel room, nothing else. But she was furious, so she went after Linda. Stupid, because she'll have to destroy the video. Was she afraid of Linda? No. Cheaters are cowards. If they weren't cowards, they'd be honest with their spouses. It never occurred to Beth that Linda would do anything other than try to run away. Linda was so scared she probably didn't know there was a video. I asked, won't Fred go after Beth's brother for beating him up? Beth said there's no police report and no hospital visit. The motel manager just saw Linda outside and Fred cowering on the floor. The fighting was over when the manager arrived. The manager was probably too focused on Linda's naked body to notice she was bleeding. Probably also true of the spectators. Only the four of them saw what happened in the room. The police weren't called and there's no police report. Beth will destroy the video and just showed me. The only people who can testify against her are her brother and the two cheaters and liars. Their injuries from last Thursday night are already healing. If Fred and Linda wanted to pursue charges, Beth and her brother will say that Fred and Linda punched each other, a lover's quarrel that Beth and her brother stopped when they arrived. That's funny. Without the video, it's her and her brother's word against Fred and Linda. She's not worried about them. So we exchanged contact info. I promised to get her a copy of Linda's confession and let her know if I find anything on Linda's laptop. We agreed to keep in touch throughout our divorces and to help each other as much as possible. I asked her to text me if Fred came home with a necklace. Beth thanked me and left. Look, it's important to have an ally in this whole ordeal, man. When I got home that night, I put off as long as I could looking through Linda's other user account on her laptop. I dreaded finding out anything more about her affairs, but it was important to my divorce, so I logged into the account that she set up using her maiden name. Time to look at pictures on Instagram and Facebook accounts in her maiden name. Well, this is going to hurt and break your heart, but you know what? You got to get this info to help you along with the divorce. So I decided to start with the pictures. Oh boy. Linda has two best friends. Both are married and both are stay-at-home moms. One is named Carol. Carol, along with my wife, is featured prominently in the pictures. Carol is married to Jim. They have one child together. Jim and I get along, but we only see each other as stuff set up by our wives. He's a good guy and fun to talk to, but we're friendly only because our wives are BFFs. The same is true about my wife's other friend and her husband. But Linda's other friend is not in any of the pictures. Only Linda and Carol. The pictures begin with the most recent. The latest pictures are selfies Carol took before I found out about Linda's affair with Fred. The selfies show Linda and Carol at a bar together, all dressed up. I had no idea that Linda was ever in a bar without me. Of course. The next group of pictures were Linda kissing a very young guy. Also in these pictures. Carol's with some guy with his arm around her. The guy is not her husband, Jim. My wife is 31. The guy she was with in these pictures may be 21 or 22. Linda was sitting on the guy's lap on a bar stool. Another older set of pictures were of Linda and Carol at a different bar. Another double date. This time Linda was with Fred and Carol was with another guy who wasn't in the first set of pictures. Well, there you go. You got your evidence of her. Obviously, things are going on with other dudes. I'm sorry that happened, man. Your lawyer, Angie's right. There's always more. So the picture is my wife and her friend on double dates with their boyfriends made me physically sick. My married wife and her married friend were out on dates like they were single. I threw up the dinner I ate. It's one thing to hear about it, but far worse to actually see pictures of Linda with other men. Looking at pictures of my wife out on dates like I don't exist was one of the most difficult things I experienced. I bet, dude. I'm sorry that happened to you, but if it's makes you feel better, sadly, you're not alone. And you got a whole army of dudes around the world that are cheering you on, that help you get through this, and you will. Next are pictures from last August. Pictures of Linda and Carol at a daytime pool party. Linda and Carol are posing together, both completely naked and smiling. And these morons keep evidence of this shit. In front of a pool with a bunch of naked people, men and women, in the background. There were some more pictures of my wife in and around the pool. The pictures must be courtesy of Carol. Carol's always taking pictures with her phone. Then 2 pictures of my wife having what looks like a suntan lotion being spread on by 2 guys. One doing her front, one her back, and Linda is laughing. Arms raised to provide easy access for the 2 guys. Well, I'm sure the guys had easy access in other ways. The guys concentrate on putting lotion on places where Linda has no tan, places which should be covered up by a bathing suit. Great to see this too. The guy's faces were turning away from the camera. That was the end of the pictures. Disgusting and heartbreaking. I had nothing left to throw up. Well, you got your evidence. I wonder why they let Carol take the pictures. New people at a party with nothing to hide. I looked a little closer to the people in the background. All had their faces turned away. Only the backs of their heads were visible. And there were only 6 pictures of the pool party. Angie wanted me to prove Fred was not her only lover. The pictures were all I needed. More than enough to show a judge Fred wasn't an aberration. But I wanted to know who the young guy was she was with on the double date. I wanted Angie to make sure Linda knew we knew about him as well. The pictures of Linda with the young guy were from when she was seeing Fred. So she was also cheating on Fred too. Shocker. No more pictures, so I opened up Instagram. A different Instagram account than the one her phone and iPad. Different from the one she used with Fred. These DMs were only among Linda, Carol, and their other BFF. They went back forever. Why did she use one Instagram account with Fred and a different one with her girlfriends? She only used her phone with Fred, and the DMs were during the workday. They didn't want their spouses to see any notifications. I'm not sure if it's possible to have a second user account on a phone, but if you can, it looks like that Linda did. She probably figured I'd never looked through her phone, so she was safe. She used her laptop with her friends at night and usually with me only a few feet away. I asked who she was talking to or got close enough to see her screen, and she could quickly toggle over to her other account, pretend she was just shopping online. Very slick. As I said, Linda was on her laptop pretty much every single night. There are tons of DMs. I started reading messages from when I thought Linda transferred from the marketing department to the customer service. I thought it's been a year, but the DMs show her transfer was a little over 9 months ago. Still a lot of reading, but I decided to at least skim every message. Some were just about them going shopping, cosmetics, try, or working out. Some were absolute proof of Linda's and Carol's infidelity. The messages weave in and out through the wives' various interests, so I'm going to sort them into 4 parts. Number 1, the pool party. Number 2, Linda and Fred. Number 3, Linda and Billy. And number 4, Carol. So, lots of info and lots of people in this whole crazy conspiracy. So guys, this is where I'm going to wrap things up on part 3 here. And I will then continue on part 4 in a couple hours. Got to take a break and stop screaming at me. And I promise you I'll be doing part 4 of this, and we really get into more details and where this whole crazy story goes. So I will see you then in a couple of hours.